In 1975, Kenya's government built a supermarket to serve the nation. It was the biggest retail name in the country. Everyone knew it. Everyone shopped there. By 2025, it had one store left. And while that giant was dying, a tiny family shop in a small town called Rongai was quietly, patiently building Kenya's largest supermarket chain. Nobody saw Naivas coming. That was the point. This is the story of how Uchumi destroyed itself and how Naivas won Kenya without anyone noticing. Uchumi, meaning economy in Swahili, was born in 1975 as a joint venture between three government corporations. The mission was clear: give ordinary Kenyans access to affordable goods, a supermarket for the people run by the state. It worked for decades. Uchumi was actually Kenya's retail king. In the 1990s, it pioneered the hypermarket concept in Kenya, massive stores where customers could walk the aisles and serve themselves. At the time, this was revolutionary. Before Uchumi, most shops in Kenya were counter service. You told someone what you wanted and they fetched for it. By 2002, Uchumi was expanding beyond Kenya, opening stores in Uganda. More branches were coming. The brand was everywhere. It listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Ordinary Kenyans bought shares. It felt like a national institution, too big, too important, too Kenyan to ever fail. That confidence was the beginning of the end. In the early 2000s, the cracks started showing. Uchumi had expanded too fast, borrowed too much, and built no systems to manage the growth. Suppliers were not being paid. Staff salaries were delayed. Shelves were going empty. In 2006, the company collapsed entirely. The government was forced to step in. A receiver manager was appointed, and the doors of most stores were shut. After 2 years of restructuring, Uchumi reopened in 2008. Kenya celebrated, knowing that the giant was back, but the truth is that it wasn't. What followed was worse than the first collapse because this time the fraud was deliberate. Senior managers began supplying goods to their own stores, then charging Uchumi above market prices for those same goods. They were both the buyer and the seller, paying themselves with the company money. A KPMG audit later revealed that huge quantities of goods from multiple suppliers were recorded as delivered but never actually arrived. Ghost supplies, fake invoices, real money leaving the company. Over 1 billion shillings in losses had been hidden through fake property revaluations. Profits that had been reported to shareholders, the ones that triggered dividends being paid out, were fiction. 900 million shillings raised from shareholders through a rights issue disappeared, allegedly diverted to failing Uganda and Tanzania operations. In 2015, the CEO and CFO were fired for gross misconduct. All Uganda and Tanzania stores were shut down. 900 employees lost their jobs overnight. By 2019, Uchumi owed lenders 3 billion shillings. It owed suppliers another 3.6 billion. It filed a creditors payment plan in the High Court, the corporate equivalent of begging. Today, Uchumi has one store in a city it once dominated. While Uchumi was busy collapsing, a family in Rongai, Nakuru, was busy building. In 1990, a man named Joram Kamau, the founder of Tuskys, handed over one of his business premises in Rongai to two of his nephews, David Kimani and Simon Mukuha. They had worked for their uncle for years. As payment for their loyalty, he gave them a shop. All they had to do was pay for the stock. They called it the Gateway General Stores. A small shop in a small town, nothing remarkable about it. Their father, Peter Mukuha, joined them. 3 family members, one store, and no grand plan. 4 years in, they opened a second store, then a third one, slowly and carefully, only expanding when they had money to do it properly. This is the key difference between Naivas and every supermarket that collapsed in Kenya. Naivas never grew faster than it could afford to. By 2001, they opened their first Nairobi branch. By 2007, they rebranded from Rongai Self-Services Stores to Naivas, named after Naivasha, a town they had expanded into. By 2009, they had 10 stores, still quiet, still steady. Then the giants around them started falling. Nakumatt, which had 60 branches and $700 million in annual revenue, collapsed in 2017 under debt it could not service. Tuskys followed. Uchumi was already on life support. Every time a competitor died, Naivas took the branches, took the customers, and kept moving. In 2020, French private equity firm Amethyst bought 30% stake, international money validating what Bokua family had built with patience. The World Bank's IFC arm invested. The IBL group from Mauritius came in. In 2022, gross sales hit approximately 860 million US dollars. By November 2024, Naivas had 106 stores across Kenya. By late 2025, 111 stores across 38 counties. It is now the largest supermarket chain in Kenya, and it is still opening new stores. The story of Uchumi and Naivas is really one story told twice. Uchumi had government backing, a famous brand, a head start of 15 years, and the goodwill of an entire nation. It had everything Naivas did not have, and it destroyed itself through greed, fraud, and the arrogance of thinking that size alone will protect it. Naivas had none of those advantages, just a family, a small shop, and one rule: do not spend money you do not have. The retail graveyard in Kenya is full of giants: Nakumatt, Tuskys, Okwala, Chopis, Ibrahims, Uchumi. Every single one of them died the same death. They grew too fast, borrowed too much, and let fraud eat them from the inside. Naivas survived by being boring, by being disciplined, by being the tortoise in the race full of hares who forgot to keep running. That is the most important business lesson in this story. Boring wins and moving forward when you can. Subscribe, because on this channel we are just getting started on African businesses.